Hello, in this video I'm going to talk about the Key Vault, a resource from Azure. So the Key Vault is really interesting resource you can actually use in Azure. It can be used to store your users and passwords across applications. It's not really wise to store a user and password or any configuration items like database connection strings in the code itself. So the place to store it is actually Key Vault. So I'm going to create a Key Vault real quick. So if you go to portal.azure.com, let me go there. This is the first screen you're seeing. And let's go to Key Vaults. This is how the icon works. You can as well search it here. Key Vaults. And I'm going to create a new Key Vault. This is a brand fresh installation of brand fresh new Azure account on a free trial, so it doesn't have anything installed on it, so I will have to as well create a resource group. So let me create a resource group. There is none existing, so I'll create a demo RG for resource group, and I'm gonna put a Key Vault name, so Python bytes demo Key Vault. I'm gonna put it in the region is gonna be East US. Pricing tier, I think standard is going to be okay. Soft delete enabled, which means if I want to delete one of the keys, it's going to be remain hidden for a specific retention period that you can set here. So in case of someone accidentally deleting a key, it can be restored. Purge protection, we're going to disable if we don't need it. Let's move on. Then access policy. Here we can see what type of resources we can enable access for it. So virtual machines for deployments. To be honest, let's set up it in a really easiest way. So I'm not going to turn on any of the features. From security perspective, the less things you have turned on, the better. I have my user, and this user needs permissions for the Key Vault, so it can get the passwords from the Key Vault, list them, update, create them, import, delete them, etc. However, if you will have some other access policies that you want to, let's say, use these things, you can then limit the access to the bare minimum that is needed for specific applications. Let's say just to get specific secret, etc. The networking, and this is quite interesting as well. So you can have a public endpoint, which means you can see this Key Vault outside of internet. You can have a public endpoint for specific network that you will select, like subnetworks or virtual networks, etc., that you will have potentially set up, or as a private endpoint where you can assign kind of like a private IP for it. In our case, I will just put it as a public endpoint, which means it's visible from the internet. And again, I will reiterate, from security perspective, this is probably not the best setup if you're going to go live with a production environment, because usually we are going to have other Azure resources somewhere in your cloud platform, and only these things should have access to this Key Vault. However, for the demo purposes, I think it's okay. Then additional tags, if I want to do any, I don't really want to do anything, so I'm going forward and review. The validation passed, so I'm good to go, and I can create my Key Vault. So first step is creating actually the resource group, and then creating a Key Vault inside this group, and deployment is underway. It will need a minute or two. So this is actually a view of my deployment, not the Key Vault itself. And deployment is complete. And let's go to the resource. So you can see the soft delete feature has been enabled. So this is what I've mentioned, that you can actually now if you accidentally remove a secret or a key from the key vault, it will be hidden. When you store users and passwords, you usually store it in so-called secrets. So this is where I would store my secrets. So let me create a secret. I will create a username or demo user name. And let's say I have a username for my database. And in my case, I want to have it as a secret user name. And it's going to be enabled. So now I have a demo username with a specific value in it. So you can store your usernames and passwords here as well. So I have stored my username, demo username, and the username is secret username. And then I can create as well a password for this user. So it's going to be demo user password. And the value, I'm going to put in some code and I can create this. So now I have my username and user password created as secrets that I can go into. And you can see it's quite easy to go and see what was the value that I've entered. And I can as well copy the value and then I can hide it. And as well, I can update it. So let's say this is my current version of my password and I'm creating a new one. So I have created an additional version. So now I have two versions of my passwords. And the value, the current valid one is this password. So this is, you can see it. So again, what is the value of storing users and passwords in a central location? You can have multiple applications that will be using this, using users and passwords. So if a password changes on an API or any location that you have to connect to, you simply change it in one place and it's going to be updated everywhere. So it's very easy to maintain this, and the users and passwords are not stored in any files. You don't have to remember where you actually stored this or where you've entered it. It's going to be stored centrally and secured in your key vault. That's it. If you have any questions, feel free to post your comments under the video. Thanks.